Welcome to block 42. This one seems to give people a lot of trouble, but if you break it down into smaller segments, I'm sure that you'll find it easy to complete. So this is our block pattern, and there it is just in black and white. This is our new fabric, modern fabric, and this is the original fabric. So how do we create this block? There's different methods. You choose which one you like the best. So I have here decided to make this block into different sections. So section 1 is going to be this star block here in the corner. So there's 4 of those that we have to create. There's this one here, which is a paper piece block of flying geese. And we have 4 of those to create. And then the center, which is just a 4 patch. So the 4 patch you can just construct with a 4 patch, and that's fine. Nice and easy. Then comes the way to do the other 2 components. This one I would tend to do as a paper piece section, because even though they're flying geese, this kind of sort of totem pole section is, I like to do that with the paper piecing because these parts here get really tiny. If you wanted to do your star block paper piece, you could. You're going to cut some pieces like that and like that for each block, and you would paper piece those individual elements. You'd also have to print probably 2 copies at least in order for you to cut out all those paper pieced segments if you weren't going to do the ones that Marg provides for us. So to do this, the way I'm going to do it is a 4 patch, a paper piece section there 4 times, and then the star block 4 times. And the star block, I'm going to create those points from 4 at a time flying geese, and I have already started on 1 block. And then when I'm done, the 4 flying geese, I will just put it together as a 9 patch and have my corner blocks and my center block. So again, we're going to prep all our fabric except for the one for the paper piecing. That was just the cat. Okay, so let's work on the 4 at a time paper piecing. I told you about the craftyquilter.com, which has a great tutorial, but it also has this good sheet here that tells you different sizes and how to make them. This is the 1 at a time method, and this is the 4 at a time method. So this one is the one we're going to use. Our finished block is 5/8 by 1 1/4. 5/8 by 1 1/4. So we have to cut our red squares at 1 3/4 and our large square at 2 3/4. The small squares are the red squares and the large square is the green square. So I've done that here. The first thing we do is we put a diagonal line on each of the red squares. Just corner to corner. Oops, it's a little slippery. Let's do corner to corner. And I mark with a pen so I can see it easily. This is going to be a cutting line, so that's going to disappear into your cut. And I've never had a problem with ink bleeding. You can use a pencil, you can use a Sharpie marker, you can use any kind of marking pen you want. Whether it disappears or not, it doesn't really matter because, like I said, it's just it's a cutting line. We're going to get rid of it. Okay. So now we have our sheet here with our sizes, but we also have the sheet here with our directions. If you read further on the craftyquilter.com's blog, she will actually talk you through the methods bit by bit. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our green square, we're going to take 2 of the red squares, and we're going to align them this way. So using our diagonals and matching the corners, We're going to put one up there. Let's move that over a smidge. One up there. And one down there this way. They should overlap the corners here. And we're going to sew on a 1/4 inch down each side of those lines. There's one side, and we'll spin it around. And we'll do the other side, and then I will pop in another block I'm creating for a different quilt, but it'll help me do my chain piecing. Okay. So now we have something that looks like this. We are going to cut along that line. And we're going to press the red open to make a heart shape. So that will look like this. So we'll have 2 of those, and we'll take our other 2 red squares and we'll put them on the diagonal this way and the diagonal that way, and then again we're going to sew a 1/4 inch on either side of the line. And make sure you line up with the green square. There's one side, and we'll do the other side. So with a quick couple of seams, we are left with our flying geese already. So I find this to be a quicker method to do the 4 at a time. Plus we've got to do it 4 times for the block. So that's a really good method. So we're going to just press those open. Okay, and there they are. And we're going to just trim them up. So I'll get my travel cutting board and my ruler if I can get it. So the way I cut it is our block needs to be finished at 5/8 and 1 1/4, and that is unfinished 1 1/8 by 1 3/4. So in order to do a really good job on your flying geese, you want to maintain that point there, and you want that point to be a 1/4 inch away from the edge. So I always start trimming on this side with that point. So I will put my 1/4 inch mark. If you can see that, I'll put my 1/4 inch mark, and anywhere along the ruler works, just there. And that way I'm going to have a 1/4 inch from that cut edge. So that's the first cut I make. And just give that a little. As I mentioned in a previous video, this cutting board is not the best in the West. Now I want to make it 1 1/8 wide. That's my unfinished side. So I'll put my next measurement at 1 1/8 and cut the far side away from that all important point. So that's the 2 sides done. Now I need it to be unfinished is 1 3/4, and half of 1 3/4 is 7/8. So again, I'll put my 7/8 mark at the center of that intersection, because that's halfway, and I'll trim the top and the bottom. So the 7/8 is there, keeping an eye on my 1/4 inch too. I cut the top. Oops. And I cut the bottom, flipping it over, so 1 3/4. So your points should be here and here and here. This one should be a 1/4 inch. These should be right in the corners. And that will then go to our block. Let's go back to our block. So there's the one we just trimmed. There's our second block here. I already went ahead and sewed the other one, and that's an extra piece for the other one. So we've got now our pieces. So from that collection we've just done, we have another one here we have to trim up. We have this one we have to cut in half, press, and then trim up for those two sides. So I find that to be a quicker method. You're going to then piece, like I said, a 9 patch. Well, here, let's look at this one. This one's the right size. So we're going to do top row, center row, bottom row, piece those together, and then piece the 3 rows together just like a 9 patch. You're going to finish your square in the center and as a 4 patch, and then you're going to do this as your paper pieced one. The copy that Marg gave us will have these numbered, but for the most part you need small pieces, and they are listed in as unit 2, the size that you need. I usually cut a square and then I cut it in half to make a triangle, and those will cover, they should cover all those pieces. You have 2 reds and a green, green, red, red. Usually start up here and work your way towards the center, and remember that you have 4 of those to do to complete the block. When those are done, we're going to put them together with our star points and sew the whole thing together. Again, it's a 9 patch. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and that'll be your block. So take this block slowly and in parts, and I think that you'll be fine. If you want to paper piece the whole thing, that's great. If you want to do the 4 at a time flying geese, I recommend that method. I think that's quicker than to paper piece the stars, and then you just have to paper piece these 4 sections. And that one is a bit tricky, like I said, but it's just a lot of parts and a little bit of math that's a little crazy, which always terrifies some people, but I'm sure we can manage it. And if not, I'm always available for help. Thank you.